Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Gruntsman.
Thank you, Dougie. From the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey, this is the Mind Your Pucking Business podcast brought to you by our good friends, the Bamboozle Project and DraftKings. And I say beautiful studios, but it is not beautiful today.
Well, I mean, the last 2 days have not been beautiful, but we'll get into that.
We will. Correct. Thank you to the Bamboozle Project, as always, for their sponsorship of our show. You can go to the bamboozleproject.com, use promo code MYPB, save yourself a total of 20% off your entire order on their website. We thank DraftKings as well. This is episode 154, Ciento y Cuatro. So for those tuning in with the SAP feature on today's broadcast, we welcome you and thank you for tuning in. You can listen to the show at any time. You could stream it on Spotify or iTunes, or you can watch us live, and we'll get to your comments live as we go on today. And that would be on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. And you can send us your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com, or you can DM us on the Instagram platform, which is certainly the more popular way to get to us and the better way to get a quick response. But some of you were actually sending some stuff to our email yesterday, and we did see it. We responded to it. We always respond to your comments. If you reach out to us, I can promise you will get a response, and knowing us, probably in a timely fashion. How are you today?
We're excited for tonight, but I'm good.
Okay. Well, don't be too excited because it's tomorrow night.
I'm excited for tomorrow night.
Which is game 6. Yeah, they have the extra day off. But let's go back before we get to that.
Yes.
We were last on a week ago today, and we're taping the show today, just so you know where we're at in time, on Wednesday, May 15th. So we were on last Wednesday, which we were all a little bit tired that day, as the night before was the double overtime winner by Vincent Trocheck to give the Rangers their 2-0 series lead, as the series was about to shift down to Raleigh, North Carolina. And game 3, we don't need to dissect it too much, but for those who forgot, and I'm sure many don't, game goes to overtime off a late tying goal by the Canes in regulation, and Artemi Panarin wins it on a beautiful redirection less than 2 minutes into overtime to give the Rangers a 3-0 lead. And you go into game 4 on Saturday, and I thought that for sure, I don't say for sure, but I thought it would be hard to sweep the Canes. I wouldn't have been surprised, but I thought, it would have been difficult to get a win in game 4 on Saturday night. What was surprising to me was not that the Canes won the game, but was the fact that the Rangers outplayed the Hurricanes in game 4. As a matter of fact, I thought it was the Hurricanes' worst game in the series for sure. And you think about that in the sense that, Carolina comes into this game, they're down 3-0, they're on home ice. They're 60 minutes away from their season being over. You would think that if there was ever a game where the Hurricanes would come out and just show you how good they were, that they would and the Rangers maybe would be caught sleeping up 3-0. It would be that game. And that game might have actually been the best game the Rangers played in the series, and they found a way to lose it. What is frustrating for me, and what is annoying me now after the fact and seeing what happened in game 5, is the Rangers' best opportunity, I think, to have put the Canes away in this series to date was not Monday night. It was on Saturday in game 4 when Lafreniere scores a goal. And again, think of the situation Carolina's in. You're on home ice. You're up 3-2 in the third period of a game you have to win or you're going golfing the next morning. Alexis Lafreniere throws the puck at the net from behind the net, and somehow Frederik Andersen misplays it and it goes in. The score is now tied at 3 in the third period. That's a back-breaking goal, and they even talked about that on the podcast. And to me, where this game was lost was not on the Ryan Lindgren penalty that led to the power play goal, and it was a penalty because let's be real, he tripped him, but was the fact that those first few shifts after Lafreniere ties the goal, where you would think there should have been a massive momentum swing in the Rangers' favor, didn't go that way. And Carolina found a way to get a couple good shifts, keep the game even. Ryan Lindgren takes a penalty. They finally get their first power play goal in the series, and the Rangers lose 4-3. Now, that game is annoying. What's annoying about that game is, again, you would have signed a week and a half ago to be up 3-1 in this series in a heartbeat. You would say, you know what? I don't care where you lose game 1, 2, 3, or 4. You lose one, you give me 3, and I'm up 3-1 after 4, I'll take it. So you look at it like that. But what was frustrating to me about Saturday's game 4 was the opportunity was there to put them away. The Rangers outplayed them. You had a back-breaking goal, a complete soul-crushing goal in the third period, and still couldn't get it done. Okay? The series shifts back now to New York on Monday night. Now, I don't talk about my ticket stuff a lot, but obviously people are asking me, was I going to go Monday night? Okay, I have tickets. Would I go? I didn't go. And the only reason I didn't go, because I went to game 5 of the Knicks series against the Sixers. I love potential clinching games at the Garden, right? The only reason I didn't go is we had stuff with the kids. And I thought to myself, and I had said to someone on Monday, and I don't remember who it was, but I had said to someone, look, if they were to lose tonight at home in game 5, I just wouldn't want to be in the room. And it would be something specifically that the Rangers would do. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be typical of this franchise to lose a game like that. And it just would be not something I would want to be at. I'm watching this game on Monday night.
Yeah.
The first period is pretty even. The second period, for the most part, is pretty even. Probably if I had to give an edge in play in the first 2 periods and overall, it was Carolina slightly.
But
Go ahead.
Even, but like atrocious even.
Yeah, both not great. And again, but you bring up a good point, right? Carolina is once again playing for their lives, and they're not dominating the Rangers, right? It's their and so the second period comes, and Trouba scores a shorthanded goal, and Jacob Trouba has been quite possibly the worst Ranger in this series. I mean, it is unbelievable how bad he has been. It's almost like I'm watching, and this is a bad comparison and probably not a fair one, but if Ranger fans remember 15 years ago, a guy named Wade Redden, just whose skill set just dropped off a cliff like you wouldn't believe. That's what we're watching with Jacob Trouba. But Jacob Trouba comes in on a 2-on-1 shorthanded, scores, and they're up 1-0 going into the third. Now, for those that were in our group chat that we've used, okay, for those who were texting with me, or for those that have a brain, any of those 3 qualities would know what is the one thing you don't want to do in the third period going up 1-0. Can you guess it?
I would say take a penalty.
No. Well, that would be
thanks.
one.
I don't have a brain.
No. That would work. The one thing you don't want to do, and it's what the Rangers did in game 1 of this series that almost cost them, is don't sit back with a lead.
We've been saying that for weeks now.
If the puck is not, games. I said to my kids and my wife who were watching it, and they probably looked at me like it was, I've said this 1,000 times. Why am I saying it? If the puck is not in our end, we cannot be hurt, right? You have a 1-0 lead. So if the puck is not in our defensive end, we can't get hurt. Last week, when I came on here, after game 2, I said that one thing that just aggravated me about game 2 was Jordan Staal, who's got to be 75 years old at this point, is dancing around with the puck on the Rangers like he's 24 again. Who scores the tying goal 2 minutes into the game? Jordan Staal, right? Now, you can look at game 5 a million different ways, right? You could have different takes on it, and I respect everyone's take on it. I always do that. You know that. I'm never one to sit here and not respect that. But one thing I will say about game 5 is it was not a situation where the Hurricanes were playing so great, and all of a sudden we're seeing this Hurricanes team. The Rangers just flat out did not show up. The only thing in this game that the Rangers did right, literally the only thing that they played well on, or they did well in one area, was faceoffs. Other than that, they were atrocious, like literally atrocious. I can't think of any area of that game except maybe the Trouba 2 on the goal, or maybe there was a play with Trocheck in front of the net in the third where I was like, wow, the Rangers, this is a grade A scoring opportunity. How did they miss? I watched Alex Wenberg, who I am slowly beginning to dislike. And actually slowly, maybe should be rapidly, because I'm rapidly beginning to dislike this guy. Come around on a wraparound in the first period that my son, who is 10, saw this and said to me, Dad, I think I would have gotten a shot on goal there. And I looked at him, and for a minute, I wanted to be annoyed, but then I'm thinking to myself, Alex Wenberg had no one in front of him. Like maybe my son would shoot it 10 miles an hour and would be stick to side, but at least it would have been on net. I'm watching Alex Wenberg come around, and I'm not sure if he was trying to fire the puck in the corner. Like he knew maybe his wife was behind the glass. Like I'm watching this, I'm like, are we trying to not try tonight? There were plays in the first period on Monday night the other way.
Mhm.
Carolina kept passing up the opportunity to shoot. Carolina wasn't impressing me.
Mhm.
And here I am on home ice with the opportunity to end the series, as we've talked about and everyone has talked about, that all you need to do is end the series early. You get extra rest because clearly Adam Fox is hurt. Maybe now Artemi Panarin is hurt. Something's going on here.
Mhm.
And we can't end the series. And literally that game was reminiscent of the game I went to in December in Washington when the Rangers got run out of the building. Like it was that bad. And you're watching the third period and it's 2-1, and you just know there is no chance the Rangers are coming back because they can't get anything going at all. Like at all.
So I don't want to sidetrack you, but we won 3 games, right? And we from the previous series we had the same lineups and we didn't really change much. If it wasn't broke, don't fix it. We seem to have changed some things. How is that in relation to how we're doing? Like, what were those changes? What's going on?
So a good question. Filipino plays game 3.
Yes.
Now, again, there's a clip of us talking about Filipino a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
I totally understand where people come across and they could say he should play or he shouldn't play.
Mhm.
Okay. I get that. I really do. But he ended up playing on game 3. And I will say this, he was really, really good. And he had a play in the third period where he almost scored like a highlight reel goal. Okay. Rangers are up 3-0. The Matt Rempe crowd of the world who praise this guy like he's the next coming of Jesus. They're quiet about it. They've moved on. And then all of a sudden, Filipino's in the lineup playing well. And no one would have expected in game 4 you to make a change. Like Filipino played well in game 3. We're going right back to him in game 4 to go for the kill. And then he wakes up with an illness. Now, we talk about this a lot here. Hockey is weird, or the NHL is weird, where they do not ever say what an injury is. It's upper body or it's lower body, or now we have illness. Like no one knows. So the first conclusion that you have, obviously, common sense. I'm not a doctor, but we can piece together simple facts, is that he probably has a concussion again. And then I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember him even getting hit. Like I remember him going down behind the net, I think, in the third period. But if that caused the concussion, then we got a legit problem here. Because if that's what's causing a concussion, we there is concern here in a major way. So Filipino plays. He's now out game 4. And they go to Johnny Brzezinski over Matt Rempe. I'm not passionately about Rempe over Brzezinski or Brzezinski over Rempe. Like to me, if it's coming down to this lineup decision, if they're going to win a game, we have problems in other areas, right? Johnny Brzezinski didn't do anything in that game. They went back to Matt Rempe. And what annoyed me, which had nothing to do with the game, was the fact that I'm watching the game on TV and I'm hearing these idiots still chanting for Rempe's name every time he's touching the puck. This is a playoff game now, okay? This is not this guy's first game in March when we're playing Anaheim in a regular season game that doesn't mean a lot and it's 4-0 in the second period. This is a playoff game. We're trying to eliminate a very difficult team, and we want to focus. It's just like this D'Angelo thing. Stop booing him every time he touches the puck. Enough. Focus on the game. Watch the game. Like it's too much now. So I don't know where they're going to go in game 6 tomorrow night. I would think that Filipino is not going to be able to play. I mean, I would love to be wrong, but why at this point would I think? He's played one game now in 6 months. Why am I going to sit here and bank that he plays? If he's available, he would obviously be the answer, but I would assume they go back to Matt Rempe. It has to be Rempe or Brzezinski.
And how do you feel about that?
I have no preference either way.
Okay.
Actually, if you're going to tell me like I had to pick between Rempe or Brzezinski, I don't have any real preference.
Okay. Do you think we need to be more physical?
This has not been a physical series.
Do you think we need to step it up a notch? Do you think we're like taking off our foot off the gas? Like you said, like we've been saying the past couple games.
I feel, well, let me put it to you this way. if we're going to talk about putting the foot off the gas, the car that the Rangers drove to at the Garden on Monday night either didn't have gas, or if it was an electric car, it was not charged, because they didn't even care.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. We're not only seeing it in this series, we're seeing it in other series, like the Dallas game. They were up like 3-0 against like the Avalanche, and
Serious concern.
They wind up losing. Like, why are you taking your foot off the gas? Score more goals.
Yes, I don't disagree with you. So now they're faced with a situation. The Rangers lead the series 3-2. Game 6 is down in Raleigh tomorrow night. The extra day off. I would say Chris will take Brzezinski every day over the week, or Rempe. You know what we should do, Chris? We're going to do this today. We're going to put on our story a little poll. If Philip Hedl is not available, who would you like to see tomorrow night? Matt Rempe or Brzezinski? Now, obviously, Rempe's going to win this, right? Because we're not going to be like, it's going to be 50-50. What I'm curious is, how much does Rempe win? Is it going to be 90% to 10%? My guess is it's 85-15. I don't know if you want to make a guess, but I'm going to guess the MYPB Nation will pick like 85% to Rempe, because they're obsessed. Yeah, I mean, and Chris is right. But I'm curious, Chris, to see how much of a difference it is, like how big the win is. What is the margin of victory here? So the Rangers could use the extra day off. If nothing else, it rests Adam Fox for a little bit. And if there are some bumps and bruises, which I'm sure there are that we don't know about, it's some extra rest as well before the series. Now, look, we posted last night on the MYPB page this panic meter, okay? And it was on a scale of 1 to 10, how panicked are you? And I said that it was a 7. And I'll be honest, when I was asked the question yesterday, and it was made, I was between a 6 and a 7. I wanted to say 6.5, but then I decided, you know what? You've already lost 2. Let's err on the side of caution, and we'll estimate up going to 7. The Rangers in the series, if you're into betting lines and you're of this nature that the sky is falling, the world is coming to an end, I cannot believe this is happening. The Rangers betting line is still to win this series -240. So Vegas, and look, Vegas is not always right. You know this. We know this. But Vegas is telling you that the Rangers still have a pretty good chance of getting a win in either, because you don't need both. You need one or the other. You need a win in either game 1 or game. You need to win one game in either game 6 or game 7. So Vegas is telling you it's -240. I would tell you this. I'm not going to bet the mortgage. Like, I'm not telling you to go bet the mortgage that the Rangers win this series at -240. And I'm also not telling you to not bet the mortgage. Like, I don't know, right? You can see situations where the Rangers find a way, because they've been a team all season long that plays well when their back's from behind the wall. We actually talked about this last week. That's been the mentality, or the stupid no quit in New York thing that we've had shoved down our throats for the last 3 years. They've always been of that nature. So to win 1 of 2 games, they could easily do it. But I'm going to say this, and this is what pains me to say, and I said this to B-Rock before the show today, and it's true. You went into this playoffs. You won the President's Trophy, okay? And all Ranger fans, including me, said this is a Stanley Cup now or bust situation, and it still is as we tape this show on May 15th. But if you blow a 3-0 lead and you lose 4 games in a row, you never were a Cup team. Like, there is no chance in the world that you can argue to me that this team, as it was constructed, was a Stanley Cup winning capable team if you blew a 3-0 lead and here come the 2004 Yankees again. Because I cannot live with that. And I posted, if you saw on the story, when they were up 3-0 last week, there's a whole clip of me talking about the 2004 Yankees, because I still have post-traumatic stress from that.
You jinxed it.
Yeah, I jinxed it. Yeah, it was totally on me. And you can put up Nikolai's that I said Rangers in 7, and that could very well still be the case. However, if you won the series in 7, and game 7 would be on Saturday if there is one, I'm sure after the game you're relieved, and that's probably all that matters. But you would still like be a part of you, like, why did it even have to come to this? And I know, Chris, as you guys are writing in the YouTube chat, that the Hurricanes were the 3rd best team in the league. But if you're the President's Cup winning team, you don't lose 4 in a row when you couldn't lose 4 in a row.
So if you're Peter Lavalette, what is the game plan? What would you, if you're the coach now? You're Peter.
If I'm
What
Peter,
are we doing here, coach?
if I'm Peter, I am finding ways to get shots on net. Freddie Anderson the other night may have been sitting there blindfolded. We would not know if he had a blindfold on under the mask because he didn't have to really stop anything.
Mhm.
And he certainly didn't have to stop anything of quality.
Mhm.
So I want shots to the net. I want traffic to the net. I have no idea. And look, Vincent Trocheck, we praised the heck out of him last week. The last 2 games, I don't know where Vincent Trocheck has been, and I have no idea where Artemi Panarin has gone since he scored that overtime winning goal. Alexis Lafreniere has still been good. So if I am that line needs to show up. The remaining top 6, where has Mika Zibanejad gone? Right, we posted the whole Cinco de Mika clip after the game 1 of this series, where after his first period, where he should have had a hat trick in the first period. Where has he been? Chris Kreider, the greatest Ranger of all time, and I say that if you watch the show as a little sarcastically, yes. Where has he been? I actually think that, and some people I know disagree with this, but I actually thought the best Ranger the other night, if I had to pick one, was Jack Roslovic, and he's on that line. So if you're not going to get anything from Roslovic, Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, they will lose this series. I mean, because you're not going to win 2 games having to get goals exclusively from your 3rd and 4th line. Like Barclay Goodrow and Jimmy Vesey are not brought here right now to be the goal scorer. So if that doesn't happen, you have to get something there. The Rangers, as good as they have been in this series in special teams, and because of special teams is the only reason they're still even in this series, let's be real, but it's not a bad thing. It's just the truth. They have to find ways to get things going on 5-on-5. Like there's got to be opportunities. And it's not just shifts that score. I mean, it is, right? But it's also shifts that play that are generating offense, are doing something, are controlling the puck in the offensive zone, right? Because again, if the puck is in the offensive zone, nothing bad can theoretically happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's also certainly part of this. So I think those top 6. Do you know, and I hate to do this, and I'm not calling people out exclusively here by name, and I'm not doing this, but I got a lot of people yesterday that were writing into me saying, hey, would you start Jonathan Quick in game 6? Why don't you give Igor a rest? What am I supposed to say to this?
I don't know if now's not the time to do that.
What? I mean, I take everything seriously that is sent to us, and I answer everything, and I answered it. Like, I don't ignore it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, when I saw that, I'm like, look, I mean, there's panicking, and there's also panicking and making dumb decisions. Igor Shesterkin is in net. And you're right, Brent, on Instagram, who's writing in that is a Paul Bizneski, Biz question. That is correct. But it was actually sent from a couple people. So Igor Shesterkin will be in net for game 6. So, Trocheck has disappeared. Panarin has. Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
Is Kakko playing in this series?
I saw him take one shot.
Kakko. Now, part of this is that, and this is Kakko's fault, and it is not Kakko's fault at the same time, if you follow me. Kakko's problem is that we will look at him as the 2nd overall pick right behind Jack Hughes. Okay. But I know what Jack Hughes is as the number 1 pick. And the fall off to be the pick behind him, to be this bad in the playoffs is, that's a pretty immense fall off a cliff. Kakko has done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the Rangers shift to game 6. So in terms of panic, I want to tell you something, a little history lesson with the Rangers and being up 3-2. And I don't know if people remember this, but if anybody does remember this, it would be Ranger fans. I believe it was 2009. Someone can look it up. The Rangers were up 3-2 in the series against the Capitals at home. Okay. Game 6, the Rangers could clinch. It was at the Garden, and it was on a Sunday afternoon. Had to be the end of April or beginning of May. Okay. I had tickets to the game. I went with my wife. We didn't have kids yet. If you look up this day, and I'm sure someone can look this up, it was ridiculously hot. Like, it was the end of April, and it was like 95 degrees hot. And when you drive into the city to go to the Garden for the playoff game that the Rangers could clinch, okay, you would not. The last place you would think you were going was a hockey game because it was roasting hot. And I guess Alvin remembers this game because he's commenting about it. So Jess and I going in the city, I believe it was a 12:30 game or 1 o'clock game or whatever it was. And we had gone out to this place for drinks before the game that we would go, the Triple Crown, which is still there, a great place to go. And I had gone into this thinking, okay, here's a game you can clinch, move on. You could pull the upset because the Rangers were the underdog. And the Garden will be rocking. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's a clinching game. The Garden was dead because the fans had just concluded they were going to lose the series because they'd blown the lead. Now, they were not up 3-0 in the series at a time like this. But it seems like half of the people, according to this poll that we posted last night on Instagram, feel like this is 2009 again. Like, we're up 3-2, but the series is over. And that I don't understand. That to me, I don't get. Now, the Rangers in that series, by the way, 2009, they went on to lose that Sunday afternoon game. I think the Rangers scored first in game 6 and were up, and then the Caps scored a bunch. And then also, if memory serves me right, there was not an off day that between game 6 and 7. And so that game 6 was a Sunday. I believe game 7 was Monday night, and they lost. Like Sergei Fedorov, who randomly played a half a season in Washington, scored the winning goal late in the third, and the Rangers were eliminated. But when the Rangers were down 3-2 in that series, people had given up. And I mean, if you're doing that now, this is a President's Cup winning team. I mean, you're nuts. I mean, you really, yeah. And Nikolai has a good point, which is honestly, if you look at any of the picks behind Kakko, it'll make you sick, and it will. And it's probably not. It's not the Chris's comment about Trevor Zegras. It's not the time to discuss like draft failures of the franchise. Definitely right now, like as we sit here up 3-2 in a series, but it's a fair point. And if you went back a week ago or a week and a half ago, and even knowing what you know now, and said, look, you'll have an opportunity on Thursday, May 16th in game 6 to eliminate the Canes and Raleigh. Oh, and by the way, if you're unsuccessful in doing so, you'll have an opportunity again 2 days later, May 18th at home. You would have taken that with how good the Hurricanes are. Yeah. So, I mean, everyone's asking me like all day yesterday, do I know what's going to happen? No, if I knew what was going to happen, I'd go play the Mega Millions and you would never all hear from me again because I'd be living somewhere else and, not doing this. But I who knows what's going to happen here? I mean, am I panicked? I'm not panicked. Look, I think there's a legitimate chance, obviously, that they lose game 6 and this goes to 7. But you still have the elite goalie. That is the other thing here. Remember this. You have 2 games. You only have to win 1, and you have the superior goalie. Right? I mean, when you think about that point, that's the first thing. Like, if I was looking for comfort right now, that's my comfort. For sure. And as Matthew says on Instagram, and you're right, the top 6 needs to come out swinging and putting pucks on the net, and Trouba and Gustafsson have been terrible. Throw Jones in and revamp the lineup a bit. We all know don't be laughing over there in the corner, B-Rock. Everyone knows my Zach Jones love. Jen, let's see, Jen Bergman, the comment after the last game discussing trades, I was like, calm down. Yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily discussing trades. My point is this, and I don't know if this is what Jen's getting at. I don't want to Kakko's getting to Pavel Brendel territory. He is. That's fair. It's harsh, but it's true. My thing is this with trades. We're not getting into offseason stuff at all, but you'd have to look at changing some things here for sure. Nikolai's question, best case, are you confident if they play Florida? So this is a good segue to go around the league for a minute. Look, very much similar. Florida was home last night, up 3-1. You want to pull up Nikolai's comment?
Yes,
Florida's home last night. Similar situation. The Rangers on Monday, up 3-1. Opportunity to eliminate, and Boston holds on to win last night, 2-1 in what was a good game. And I'll tell you, if you watch this game, Boston had an opportunity with Reinhart to tie the game in the final 10 seconds. So look, right now, I have a difficult time even looking beyond this series because, man, I mean, they're going to have to get through Carolina. Florida would present a challenge. However, my thing with Florida is this. The Hurricanes all year were consistently good. Florida was not. Florida had a run, I believe it was in March, where they lost 6 or something in a row. Florida would have a better goalie than Freddie Anderson. Again, I don't want to. There'll be a place and a time to dissect it if we have the opportunity to. But Florida is very good. Florida is very good. But again, whoever you play in the Stanley Cup playoffs is good. There's no one that is not good.
Who do you think we match up better against?
If you had to play, you'd match up better to me against the Bruins. But that's just me. But I don't know that it matters. In the Western Conference last night, I want to talk about something in the Edmonton-Vancouver game that has nothing to do with the game itself that I was watching. If you watched this game last night, so Jess and I turned off the Knicks game because the Knicks were up 30, and I felt, like, don't need to watch that. And we were watching the end of the Boston and Florida game, and that game ended, and instantly, I don't know if you were watching, it went from covered, like the puck, the game ended in Florida, and in 2 seconds, you were in Western Canada watching the national anthem. And Edmonton had their anthem singer, and I don't know if they do this all the time, but it was really cool. Edmonton has their national anthem singer in the upper deck, like standing with fans in the middle of the row.
Pretty cool.
And because they're playing Vancouver, there's only one national anthem. You're not playing an American team. They're playing a Canadian team, so they just play Canada, right? And he starts singing the song, and he gets maybe a line and a half in and stops. And the rest of the entire Canadian national anthem was the arena. And if you look, because now the camera people are showing the fans, because that's who's singing, there's sea of the orange jerseys for the Oilers. But I was actually surprised there were a ton of Vancouver fans. I mean, I guess the cities aren't that far, but it's not that close. I guess the Canucks travel well. And it was just a cool moment. Like, you would never see that at the Garden, where you don't sing the national anthem. Now, you could tell me Game 7 when the Rangers won the Cup, John Amarante, you couldn't hear people, and you'd be right. But that was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. This was Game 4, where the home team is losing in the series, and the entire crowd in unison sings the national anthem. The national anthem singer was not even using the microphone beyond the first line. So, I mean, that was really cool. And last night, the Oilers tie it at 2. Good game. I believe it was 3-2. That series is great. And there's just such bad blood. The McDavid hit at the end of Game 3. Who knows where that series is going to go? I kind of silently am rooting for the Oilers here. I don't know why. I'm not losing sleep over it. And then the other series, Dallas now is up 3-1. It shows you again the non-importance of Game 1, right? Dallas is up 3-0 in Game 1. They blow the lead and lose to Colorado in Game 1 at home, right? So now you had Game 1 and you lost it. And now all they've done is come back and won 3 straight. And now they have 3 opportunities to end that series. And that series, obviously Colorado had some off the ice issues, guys getting suspended the other day. I mean, Colorado is in some serious trouble. So, question from Instagram, Josh, just curious if anyone knows what to expect if you go to a watch party at MSG. Do they play the goal horn and song and announce the goals and everything? I believe they do not announce the goals. I don't think Joe Tollison is there, but I do believe they play the goal song. That is my recollection from previous years.
They don't announce the goals?
They don't have, like, Joe Tollison wouldn't sit there and say Ranger goal scored by, number 10 Artemi Panarin. Well, he wouldn't say that because Panarin hasn't been playing the last few games. But I do believe that they do play the goal horn. It's cool. I think it's $10. If you need something to do tomorrow night for Game 6, it's not for me. I'm too nervous to be in that scenario. But for $10 and all the profits go to the Garden of Dreams, which is also really cool. You have the opportunity to go to the Garden, and they put the game on the scoreboard, and you're watching it with 19,000 or however many tickets they sell Ranger fans. So thank you, Jen. Is getting crumb cake for tomorrow's game. That's got to be good luck. At this point, you need to, like, if they lose tomorrow night, on Saturday, you pull out whatever it is. Like, if it's crumb cake, if that's your forte, if it's like a lucky shirt and it's not a flannel, let's not go there. Like, whatever it is you need to do that. What's the tenure comparison between Kakko and Buchnevich? No, I'm not sure I'm following that, Nikolai. I mean, Buchnevich obviously was better. Ryan, what's your feeling on how we're going to come out for Game 6 in the beginning? I would think the Rangers come out. I would think that they're angry, right? Like, This is a team that's been resilient. They've obviously had each other's backs on and off the ice all year. They're a tight-knit group. You would think that they're annoyed, and they only had an extra day as well to have that kind of fester and be in their head. I would think they come out to start on it on Thursday night. If they're not, it's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. When we
But
start Rempy.
But
hey,
I'm not.
Start a fight for the first
But
5 seconds.
I will say this: you never want to go down in a game, but you've seen in this series so many times, even all year round along. We talked about this last week that when this team gets behind, they're never really out of games. Like they will fight back. So I think we see it from Meg Hoffman. I think we see a different team tomorrow. They've been put in a spot of desperation. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I would like to think you're right. I don't know if the team would look at it and say it's desperation in a game 6. That would be game 7. But if they had that, then yes. I mean, playing desperate wouldn't be bad. Yes, you start Hedl if he is a go, absolutely. But how could you think that Hedl's going to play? Like I mean, the guy played 1 game and now he's injured again with an illness. So the desperation is a personal feeling, like Pete said. Yeah, I'm going. Seemed like a cool opportunity. You should go. Yes, Josh, I would go. If you have an opportunity to go to the watch party for $10, you're getting into Madison Square Garden. Okay, so I understand we take it for granted sometimes that we get to go to Madison Square Garden, but the fact that you can get into that and watch a playoff game in a playoff atmosphere, even though it's not in front of you, it's going to be on the screen for $10 is a no-brainer. Yeah. Like part of me now is thinking, do I want to go tomorrow? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. If a lot of people tell me that watch this show that they're going, maybe I will consider it.
Why don't we take it over? MYPB takeover.
No.
Start telling people it's an MYPB function.
I need to be like a night like tomorrow, or even if there is a game 7, I need to like just be in my house. I don't like being around people. Like I was
in your house wearing a flannel and a beanie.
Yeah, and the Pure Leaf iced tea that people have picked up on that I seem to drink a lot of. But yeah, I just don't. So Gavin, looking for tickets. If you go on the Rangers website, you can get them. If you can't find them, Gavin, send us a DM. I will give you the link. And yes, they do sell food and beverage, Bill, at the watch party. They may not. They probably don't. Money. They make their money. They probably don't have every concession stand open. Like I don't know if you're getting the prime rib place, which would be the one to get. But a lot of them are. Like it's a really cool for $10, man. You're watching a Ranger game with thousands of other Ranger fans going nuts. Yeah. And if you sometimes in previous years, and I don't think they would because the game's not an MSG, but they'll flip to like if the Rangers score, they'll show you after a goal, like a live look in at the watch party, and that place is rocking, right? Because it's all they may even give out playoff towels for all I know, but. I'll be in the backyard with tequila and a fire pit. Yes, I like that comment. Yeah. So I man, it's hard for me to just to be in that building. Like, especially game 7. I don't want to have to think about if I will go to game 7 on Saturday because I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but it is hard for me to be there.
I get it.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been to. I was at Knicks Bulls game 7 in 1994. When Michael Jordan had retired and the Knicks finally got past the Bulls, well, because Michael Jordan had retired for the first time. I don't know if I've ever been at. I was not at the Mateau game. I was not at the Stanley Cup game. I was at game 5 where the Rangers could have won the Stanley Cup and they didn't. I don't know if I was certainly not at game 7 at the Devils last year. I was not at the Panarin game 7. Yeah, I need to like be home, and I feel bad because like my family who will amazingly sit in the room and watch me act the way I act. I don't know. I need to be home. But if a lot of people tell me that you're going tomorrow night, maybe you can convince me to the watch party. I don't know if it was a live game. So yes. And Alvin's right. I need a defibrillator if they go to game 7. Game 7, by the way, here's one thing that people are completely wrong on. They're like completely wrong on. And people have wrote this in the last few days. That people say that if it's game 7, if there's a game 7, because the Rangers are up 3-0, all the pressure's on the Rangers. That makes no sense. How is the pressure not on both teams if they're up game 7?
Yeah, but you're losing a lot of momentum.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that there's no pressure on the other team.
There's pressure, but like you're feeling good going into game 7. You just won 3 in a row.
But you have the momentum.
Yeah.
But you're also still on the
I don't want
on the
I
road.
don't want to go to a game 7.
Look, I don't have plans Saturday except my son has a baseball game that I help coach in the morning. That's all I have.
Yeah.
I do not, because I would assume if it's a game 7, it's at night. It would have to be, right? It would be a Saturday
You don't
night.
want a game 7.
I don't. That's my point.
Exactly.
I don't want to deal with this Saturday.
So, exactly. So
my
what
Saturday
pressure-
is ruined. Here's the other thing. My Saturday is. Let me tell you about something with Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll go coach my son's baseball game.
Yeah.
Okay. If I have to know in my head during that game what I have to deal with that night, the entire day is ruined.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
joy that
Yeah.
comes out of anything in that day until that game is over and its potential
So
joy.
you don't think the grass is slightly greener on the side? Forget team A and team B. Team A wins 3 games in a row. Team B then wins the second 3 games in a row. Don't you think the grass is a little greener on the second team, team B who won the last 3 games?
Yes, but that's not my
The morale
point.
and
Yes,
everything.
but
Yeah.
my
There's still pressure. You got to win the game.
yeah, but to say that all the pressure is on the Rangers if it's a game 7
Embarrassing
is
pressure, yeah.
okay, but it's not. It's game 7.
Yeah.
How could all the pressure be on one team? That makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense.
There's a little bit of pressure is taking off of the other team because they just won 3. They were about to get eliminated and they're fighting back. They're clawing back.
Okay.
You don't expect them to win.
All I'm saying, look, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but the people that have wrote in and said it better not go to game 7 because all the pressure's on the Rangers, that makes zero sense.
Okay. Yeah,
Zero.
there's pressure on both
Zero.
teams.
Thank you. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say anything else. And Jen, it's not a matter of who's writing it on Instagram of no positivity here. I'm just saying that if it becomes a situation, because the Rangers could lose game 6 for sure, and it comes to Saturday, and on Friday, then here's the other thing. If you have a game 7 on Saturday, your Friday is ruined. Your Friday is absolutely ruined. And it's not even the fact that the Knicks play Friday night, because that's another thing, right? But how in the world are you supposed to be productive at work on Friday, knowing I've now seen my team lose 3 in a row, winning the President's Cup, and I have to sit through a game 7? That's all. That day is ruined. Like, I might as well, with my real job on Friday, I might as well just tell my clients you're getting 20%. Like, you're not getting 100% of me here. There's no chance of that. So, a couple last comments before we go. I think the opposite. Carolina has the pressure after winning 3 in a row. I mean, the pressure's on both cases. Imagine if the Rangers get screwed because of another reverse sweep in a year that ends with the number 4. I don't want to. All I'm going to say is this. If the Rangers found a way to blew this, and they blew last year up 2-0 versus the Devils, where they actually won games 1 and 2 on the road too, you'd have to. I mean, what we would talk about here next week or the forthcoming weeks on what you would do differently for the next season would be ruthless. Like, if I'm telling you, like, nobody, and I shouldn't say nobody, one player in my head would be safe. No, stop. No. One player who's a goalie and is number 31 would be safe. Everyone else would be up for discussion.
Wow.
Then it doesn't mean that I would get rid of everyone, but you could not tell me that it would not be up for discussion. Now, I would tell you, I would have come to my senses, and I would say, you know what? I'm not trading Panarin, and I wouldn't. But all I'm saying is there would be nobody except for the goalie that would be immune for us to ask, would be like immune that we couldn't ask about or bring up in that discussion. And Matt Rempe, thank you, Michael, for writing that in. I don't even know if that guy's even on the team next year. You know that? Like, can someone tell me if Chris is still watching? I think he is. What is the contract situation with Matt Rempe? I'm assuming the Rangers probably didn't have him signed through more than this year, would be my guess, right? So there is a legitimate chance, like highly legitimate, that he's not even here next year. And Rempe is on the team next season. Thank you. Okay. But they can send him back down. So Chris, he is here.
All right.
So are we going to get to a point where it's next, like March, and people are still cheering every time he gets the puck? Like, enough. That is it for us. We get you ready. Again, game 6 tomorrow. We're going to put up a poll as soon as we're done on who should play in game 6 if Heedle can't come. It's going to be Brzezinski or Rempe. Rempe is going to win the poll. We know this. But what I want to see is how much the margin of victory is.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. Game 6 tomorrow night in Raleigh. Hopefully, you're not spending your Saturday night watching game 7. If there is a game 7 in a Saturday, get the extra day off. The sky is not falling. Do not panic. But I will say this in closing. If you lose tomorrow night, it would,
All the pressure's on the Rangers.
No, then it's time to panic. And Nikolai, who's wishing Doug good wishes wherever he's going, safe travels. Because I told people in the group chat this morning, because I had said we were starting early.
Yeah.
And then Chris wrote in, or I think it was Chris wrote in, no, they never start early. I said, no, we have to start early because Doug has to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nikolai is going to be disappointed that you're not going on a plane. You just have like a shoot somewhere, 40 minutes away. He's got to go to. It's not anything that exciting. So thank you to the Bamboozle Project for their sponsorship as always. Go check them out at thebamboozleproject.com. Use promo code MYPB. Save yourself 20% off your total order. And we will thank you, DraftKings, as always. And we will see you next week, either in the Eastern Conference Finals. You can play it either in the Eastern Conference Finals or doing a terrible offseason discussion.
Man.
Have a good rest of your week.